Hi, I'm Keith McCullough. Welcome back. Today I want to have some fun. I want to go through the top 3 most overrated economists in our market lives. And I mean our market lives. I mean, these people are everywhere. They're paid by everyone. You know, they're famous. They want to be famous. It's kind of laughable, really. But we scored these things on really 3 big factors: their accuracy, their transparency, and their level of annoyance. Because I know some of these people annoy you. So we picked also, in addition to our top 3, your top 3. So we have 6 beauties here to go through in terms of people, that just don't uphold the principles that we would like to uphold. So let's start with the first one. And I want to give you a couple seconds here to guess who these people are. Now, I'm talking about this guy here in the middle, the guy. That's Nouriel Roubini. This guy was bearish for like half a decade. Half a decade. Completely wrong the whole way up. And last year, right at the end of the year, December, only a couple months ago, he goes bullish. So if you see some of these pictures on Twitter are just hilarious. I mean, the guy's like, tweet picking himself. He probably has Instagrams all over the place. That thing, Snapchat, huge for this guy. But, what isn't huge is his accuracy. I mean, at the end of last year, at the end of his global outlook note, and don't forget that that's probably the biggest problem. They profess to be like Nostradamus or something. As 2012 ends, the downside risks to the global economy are gathering force. I mean, doesn't that sound bearish? I mean, guess what? Right as Hedgeye was saying that the global economy was picking up steam, I mean, that's a pretty big miss, just FYI. Second one, picture. I'll give you a couple seconds here to guess. And again, I'm not talking about the bird. I'm talking about the guy. The guy is indeed PIMCO's, or the former PIMCO at this point. It's not clear. PIMCO's Mohammed El-Erian. Now, El-Erian made himself famous with an academic theory that was basically that we would have a new normal. A new normal. So again, first mistake is that you have an academic theory that you're going to put to test in the market. And of course, the market's going to score your theory, Mr. El-Erian. And what happened to his theory, the new normal being that we're going to have slow growth? In reality, we had like, 4.2% GDP growth in the U.S. by the third quarter, and that bonds were going to outperform. Obviously, they didn't. But if you look at El-Erian's returns last year, he ran the Global Multi-Asset Fund. It was down 8.4% absolute last year. That's awful. I mean, and people are wondering, well, why did he leave Bill Gross? I mean, Bill Gross is in the business of making money, not that. I mean, that's just bad. That's worse than the picture. Third picture. Now, this is going to take you maybe 3 days to guess who this is as opposed to 3 minutes because, this guy's not on CNBC. He probably wants to be famous, but he's on Bloomberg TV. So he's kind of like the B team of the Economists. I mean, the Economists are the B team anyway. No hedge fund would hire any of these people, by the way. But again, this guy, Danny Blanchflower, the professor of Keynesian economics at Dartmouth University, is just a beauty. And again, a beauty in Hedgeye's purest form of its definition. This guy basically said that austerity in the UK, 2 to 3 years ago, he said, look, austerity in the UK is going to create these epic levels of unemployment. Let's check the scorecard on Mr. Blanchflower on that. Number one, the UK unemployment rate just showed some shock and awe to the downside. In fact, it was its best gain on a 3-month basis since 1997. 1971 was the best number before that. Just an incredible run for the UK economy. ISM's tracking 15 to 18-year highs with the pound rising. And that's the third point. A strong currency, which reflects less money printing in the UK, more fiscal conservatism, a strong pound, stronger purchasing power. That's the UK confidence call that Mr. Blanchflower missed. And guess what? It's the call that all the Keynesian economists miss. That's why most people make fun of Keynesian economics. So again, to review, Keynesian economics is not a science. It is a social study that people are trying to sell to you as theories that they should get rich on. Now, let's get into your top 3. Again, they're different, but they shouldn't surprise you. Number 1, the guy with the cat. What if you're just a guy with a cat? I mean, does this guy talk to himself all day long or what? I don't know, but he got your vote and he probably deserved it. Number 2, Mark Faber, who from somewhere in parts unknown in East Asia writes the doom and gloom and boom report that doesn't necessarily talk about booms very often. But again, he's very one way. He's very bearish. And you could see that if you were married to that guy, you'd probably be pretty bearish on his outfit too. So he got a big vote. And then it was a tie for third place between the dynamic duo at CNBC, the guy who handicaps the employment report. So every time you have a monthly employment report, Mark Zandi is going to give you his forecast. He's going to tell you what it's going to be, and it's going to be this, it's going to be that, it's going to mean this and that. It's going to be wrong. So Zandy obviously got the vote, and he got in a tie with Leisman. We had to put Leisman in there as a tie because he's not really an economist. He's kind of, well, he's a guitarist, and he's an English major, and he loves kind of like hanging out with the Fed. But he, evidently people don't like his take on economics either. So with that, I guess the best way to go with this is to actually cite one of the famous strategists of all time, as opposed to these economists, which is, of course, Yogi Berra. And I'll end with his quote. In theory, there is no difference between theory and practice, but in practice, there is. Indeed, Yogi Berra, indeed. Thanks. I'm at Keith McCullough. That's my Twitter handle. If you have any questions, please tweet me.